I think that's why I'm so excited is because I have been blessed to see what it looks like under the goat. And now you're going to the baby goat who's been, all the eyes are on her all around the world. And so it's just kind of a cool experience for everybody.
He has altered our strategy in the most advantageous manner, according to Sophie Cunningham's assessment of Caitlin Clark in her most recent interview since joining the Fever. As detractors and haters still minimize Clark's influence, Cunningham's frank evaluation from the viewpoint of a veteran is quite credible.
I am joined by Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham. And I just said Indiana Fever, Sophie Cunningham. You have been with the Phoenix Mercury for 6 years, now heading over to Indiana for the 2025 season. What does that feel like? How has that transition?
However, there's another, even more telling, quote from a New York Post interview. I've been that feisty player my entire career. Cunningham isn't just coming to Indiana to shoot threes. She's coming to be the enforcer this young team sorely needs for Clark, who has faced unprecedented physical defense. Having a teammate who isn't afraid to push back could be the difference between good and great. Are you prepared to learn more about what Sophie just said? If so, leave a remark below with Sophie and a CC, and let's go.
No, it is so funny that you even said that because I'm still I'm so excited, but I'm still not used to it just because I've been drafted out here. I've been here for 6 years. And so a couple weeks ago, I threw on the Indiana jersey for the first time and everyone's saying I'm a Fever. And so I'm like, oh, I gotta get used to the new me, which I love. I'm so excited for. I think it's just such a great opportunity. I'm excited to play with the players that are there, play under the coaching staff that's there. And so I think this is just a new and exciting era for me. And everyone that I kind of part.
Did you know that the Indiana Fever only had 5 victories a few years ago, which put them at the bottom of the league? That's the hole they're trying to escape, and it's deeper than most people think. They then had a miserable 13-win, 27-loss record, even though they had already selected Aaliyah Boston with the 2023 first overall pick at the time. This wasn't just a poor season for the Fever. It was a glaring indication that something fundamental needed to change in Indianapolis.
I think Indy, those my year 1 through 3.5. Well, let me just say this. I went through my 7 years in Indy. I've had 4 head coaches. So that within itself was kind of like, no one really knows what an experience of the black stick at the bottom. Trust me, I've been there. Trust me. So I was, that's really how it started,
Consider the implications for a franchise at its lowest point. Not only were the Fever losing games, but they were also becoming irrelevant in a league where getting attention is already difficult. Their performance was so worrisome that it became clear to everyone that a full roster change was not just desirable, but also vital for their existence.
Y'all left, it was still a rebuild stage. So different coaches got hired. And I think that at that point, we was trying to figure out whether I was keep swimming or if I would sink individually. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what would happen in my career. I didn't know how it would turn out because the points were the points, the accolades were accolades, but it wasn't enough.
That team winning. Team, not individual team.
And anybody that wanted to compete and be a winner, it's about.
Then the 2024 draft arrives, and all of a sudden overnight, the team that no one was watching became the team that everyone was talking about thanks to the Feverland #1 pick and Caitlin Clark, perhaps the most important rookie in WNBA history. However, this is where things get complicated because attention brings heat, and the critics and skeptics quickly began to question everything about this new look. Basketball analysts had real concerns when they saw a gifted rookie entering a system that still had a lot of flaws. And the questions weren't just coming from random social media accounts. Would Clark's game translate to the professional level? Could this young team truly compete with the league's powerhouses?
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Clark was being physically overpowered in several games as other teams appeared to take turns attempting to welcome her to the league with extra contact as the 2024 season began. And those early blunders only served to heighten the criticism. The team appeared disorganized at times, finding it difficult to develop cohesion. The Fever's shortcomings were evident. They lacked toughness, their shooting was erratic, and most obviously, they had no enforcer. The Fever needed more than just talented players. They needed battle-tested veterans who knew what it took to win at the highest level, and players who wouldn't falter under the intense scrutiny that comes with having a star like Clark on the roster. They also needed veteran presence to step up when things got physical. This became painfully clear.
Are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
The Fever management responded by purchasing a buffet of veteran talent, including Sophie Cunningham, in what may turn out to be one of the most calculated rebuilds in recent WNBA history. Bonner, Dana, not just any veterans. Sydney Colson and Natasha Howard were players who had competed in championship settings, understood pressure, and could impart to the younger core what it truly takes to win.
It's a wonderful fresh start for you. But before we look ahead, I kind of want to look back on your experience in Phoenix. Like you said, you were drafted there. You spent the last 6 seasons with the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, who just announced her retirement. What have you learned from her?
Oh man, I think we could sit here for days if we really went into that. But you know, at the end of the day, I think that Dee is one of the best humans I've ever met. She has one of the best hearts. The way she not only thinks about life, but the game is just on a whole nother level.
While the Fever front office planned these moves behind closed doors, no one anticipated the bombshell Cunningham would drop during her media tour. Of all these veteran additions, no one made a louder entrance than Sophie Cunningham. Most veterans tiptoe around praising rookies out of fear of building them up too quickly, but Sophie took a completely different approach that left basketball analysts stunned.
You went from playing with a true legend of the game to now a rising legend of the game in Caitlin Clark in Indiana. What is it about her? What have you observed about Caitlin Clark now that you're going to be one of her teammates?
While the Fever front office planned these moves behind closed doors, no one anticipated the bombshell Cunningham would drop during her media tour. Of all these veteran additions, no one made a louder entrance than Sophie Cunningham. Most veterans tiptoe around praising rookies out of fear of building them up too quickly, but Sophie took a completely different approach that left basketball analysts stunned.
It was exactly what Cunningham needed after she got, quote, too comfortable across 6 seasons in Phoenix. Now she tells the New York Post that she's equipped to thrive in the spotlight while playing alongside Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. Quote, I think that since I've been out here in Phoenix, it hasn't always been easy, Cunningham, 28, said while discussing a partnership with Quest Nutrition. There have been a lot of trials. There's been a lot of lessons learned, a lot of experiences that I thought was just like any WNBA team. But I think it's built me. It's made me tougher. It's tested my persistence and my mental quite a bit.
After years in Phoenix, where things haven't always been easy, Cunningham boldly declared in her frank New York Post interview that she was made for this moment. Sophie viewed this transaction as a turning point in her career and said, I believe it has prepared me for something bigger and better. Her remarks resonated like a rallying cry for the entire franchise as she highlighted the stage we're going to be on with the players I'm about to be with.
I think it's built for me something bigger and better in the stage that we're about to be on with the players that I'm about to be with. I think I am built for this. So she's telling you she's ready. Did you pick up on the, I think it's made me tougher? Because look, they're not only going to come after Caitlin Clark, they're going to come after Miss Cunningham too. That is a fact. Unfortunately for her, I have a feeling she's not going to back down from anybody.
Cunningham acknowledged the roller coaster nature of professional sports and that it won't always be sunshine and butterflies. She also acknowledged demonstrating remarkable self-awareness, acknowledging that every season has its own thing. Her genuine voice conveys exactly what she'll bring to the locker room. There is no sugarcoating, just honest talk. This is what makes Cunningham's comments so refreshing.
Clark's fame put the team under a microscope, which opened the floodgates for scrutiny and constant attention. The Fever had to increase security when they drafted the Hawkeyes legend. None of that is intimidating to Cunningham. Here we go. And she's already said she's tough. Now we know she's not intimidated. Who's ready to chase a championship with a new look Fever? Quote, I think that's why they brought in a lot of veterans who have that experience, Cunningham said. And I'm not saying that they have the experience of hundreds of millions of followers watching you, watching your every step, but I do feel like they brought an experience of how to gel in the locker room.
Ironically, Sophie and Clark had a light-hearted exchange at the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, during which I said, hey, if you ever want to come to Phoenix, let me know. Laughing, Cunningham said, that one kind of backfired on me. The basketball gods had other ideas, and Sophie was sent directly to Indianapolis.
I'm refocused. There's a different type of vibe and energy about me, she said. I think I'm always kind of happy, go lucky, go with the flow, and I'm still that. But I'm also like ready to dial in and get a championship because that's something I haven't done yet. So I'm going to do anything in my power to help the team do that. It's time for me to level up. Very interesting indeed. So she's ready.
The most impactful aspect of Cunningham's media tour was her vehement defense of Clark. She discussed the rookie's shoulders and pointed out that many people haven't been in her shoes, so it's easy to criticize her. Her readiness to publicly defend Clark sends a strong message.
She's making it clear she's ready, joining this squad. And look, remember when Cheryl Swoops and some of the other media was like, I don't know if any players are going to want to join Caitlin Clark. Boy, that turned out to be some fraudulent activity, did it not, by the media?
Cunningham is very aware of what this Fever team requires. She conveyed her sincere enthusiasm for Indiana's ball-sharing scheme, which was designed to complement Clark's skillful passing and Sophie's acute shooting. She sees the full picture of what makes this squad unique.
She has that same mindset that Dee has, and I've learned a lot on how to become a pro and how to get to where I want to be with Dee every single day and how she just does things. You know, I was a sponge around here. I saw her habits, her do's and her don'ts. And I think when you have someone like Caitlin, she doesn't really need a lot of help, right? Like she already knows how to play the game. She knows where she wants to be. She has an itch and a willingness to do whatever it takes to win.
After spending 6 seasons with one of the most scrutinized players in WNBA history, Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark's basketball relationship isn't just another veteran rookie duo. Rather, it was forged in the shadow of Diana Taurasi. Sophie gained a unique perspective that most veterans simply don't have, and Clark needs this hard-earned wisdom about navigating the blinding spotlight because she is subjected to unprecedented attention at every turn.
I do love the offense we're going to be playing. It's a motion offense. I feel like I haven't played in a motion offense since college, and so it's going to be run and gun, kick and shoot, lots of threes.
The chemistry that is growing between them on the court is what makes their collaboration unique. Cunningham's remarkable 40% success rate from beyond the arc in 2022 is a wonderful addition to Clark's passing skills. Imagine this situation. Clark drives for the basket, attracting defensive assistance as she sees, with a swift flick of the wrist, Cunningham, who was positioned in the corner, zips the ball to Sophie, who is left open as defenders attempt to contain Clark's bucket. This exact sequence has already occurred several times during preseason play.
I want to have a lot of fun with her. I want to win a lot of ball games. I want to win championships with her, but I also want to make sure that she's good off the court as well. And so I'm hoping that she leans on me if she wants it. And I think that's why I'm so excited, is because I have been blessed to see what it looks like under the GOAT. And now you're going to the baby GOAT, who's been, all the eyes are on her all around the world. And so it's just kind of a cool experience for everybody.
A defender who stays close to Cunningham can't help against Clark's drives, and one who assists leaves a 40% three-point shooter unguarded, giving Indiana a definite advantage. Cunningham's spacing changes the Fever offense. Her threat from three-point range forces defenders to stay close, creating passing lanes for Clark to find other teammates. Cunningham's passion for Indiana's system is especially noteworthy. She expressed her excitement about joining a motion-based offense that emphasizes ball movement and sharing, saying, "I'm ready to dial in and get a championship."
I haven't won a championship since 2012. Is this year the year? Does this team have the pieces?
Man, you know what? We definitely have the pieces. I think our front office and our coaching staff, they did a heck of a job of bringing young players who are wanting to win with experienced players who have won. And now you just got to make it all gel. And so I do definitely think we have the pieces. I think we've turned a lot of heads in this offseason of what our team is looking like. But no, we are all still very new to each other. We have to build that chemistry. We have to build that.
The real importance of this cooperation is demonstrated during timeouts and after difficult losses, when Sophie's years with Terrarasi taught her how to control expectations, ignore the commotion, and perform under duress, as Clark is subjected to extraordinary scrutiny. Having a veteran who is aware of this particular pressure could be the difference between her buckling and thriving. Sophie's claim of winning a championship wasn't just the excitement of a new player. Rather, it was a well-considered evaluation based on what Indiana's front office has meticulously put together. When you look at their roster transformation, what once seemed like an absurd claim suddenly appears to be a genuine blueprint for success.
Our job to be pros and put it all together and get a championship back in Indiana.
I think that's kind of an underrated aspect of building a team is you could put all these pieces together, but it has to be a puzzle. Those pieces have to fit. You have to gel. You have to build that chemistry. Now heading into your 7th season in the league, what have you noticed is maybe one of the biggest challenges of making those pieces gel? And how do you think having that experience will help you make those pieces work in Indiana?
The Fever's front office has put together one of the most remarkable off-season makeovers in recent WNBA history. They put together a championship puzzle with precision, adding Cunningham and Dana Bonner, the most seasoned playoff player in league history. Bonner brings championship experience and knows exactly how to handle the mental pressure cooker of playoff basketball. Natasha Howard also contributed 3 championship rings and elite defensive prowess to a team that was in dire need of both. Howard's ability to perform in high-stakes situations comes from experience, and the Fever now have plenty of it. These veterans are championship architects who know the exact foundation needed to win at the highest level.
Yeah, I think when you really look at the league and not only us, but in the NBA, in the MLS, like no matter what sport you're looking at, you have stars and you have role players and everyone does their job really, really well. It's all about managing egos. It's about managing personalities and making sure everyone feels confident and like they're enough and that their role is important. And when you can do that, those are the championship teams. And so I think a lot of people think you just...
Why this change is occurring, the flawless connection that is developing the veterans to deliver the championship is captivating. Expertise, while Clark, Mitchell, and Boston Hull bring the potential and dynamic talent. This combination, which combines young, explosive talent with seasoned winners, has produced champions in a variety of sports for decades. And many who once mocked them are now frantically revising their predictions. ESPN's, it's remarkable how quickly those critics change their minds when the parts start to fit together. Michael Vopel gave the Fever an A for their summer editions, indicating a significant shift in how experts assess this team's direction.
I think a lot of people think you just need all the best scorers, all the best athletes, but that's honestly not what it is at all. You need a team that really cares for each other, that loves each other off the court, and that chemistry naturally comes. And so when I say that our conversations so far have been absolutely amazing, I think this is going to be a really solid, historic team. And, this is just the beginning for all of us.
Social media is ablaze with posts like, "Already got your Fever jersey, let's go," demonstrating how warmly supporters have greeted Sophie Cunningham since her arrival. This enthusiasm from the fans indicates that Indiana basketball has been waiting for a player who can complement Clark's genius with both skill and arrogance. The days of brushing the Fever aside are over. If you're as excited as we are for the upcoming season, leave a CC and Sophie in the comment section, and let's rise together by subscribing and turning on all notifications so you never miss anything. Over when ardent supporters unite around a team this talented, something special is brewing in Indiana. The revolution is already here, turning struggle into potential championship glory. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.